The insignificant blue world, in the vast expanse of the Andromeda Milky Way corridor, the Galactic Confederation maintained order across 17,000 worlds. At the heart of their sprawling bureaucracy stood the Classification Committee, an institution responsible for cataloging every planet with sentient life and determining its significance to the greater cosmic community. Nestled in a quiet corner of the classification tower, senior analyst Vextral slouched in his ergonomic hovering chair, his four eyes half closed with boredom. Three of his slender arms manipulated holographic controls, while the fourth absently stirred a cup of nutrient gel that had grown cold hours ago. His scales had lost their luster from spending too many cycles under artificial lighting. "Next file," he mumbled, and his terminal pulled up information on planet designation MW3SOL3. Local name, Earth. Vextral skimmed through the preliminary data. A water world orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. Single moon. Varied biosphere. Dominant species. Bipedal mammals called humans. Technological development. Early space exploration phase. Fossil fuel dependency. Primitive digital network. Political. Organization. Fragmented nation-states with frequent conflicts. He yawned, exposing rows of tiny teeth. Computer, play cultural sample. The holographic display showed a montage of human activities, sports competitions, musical performances, political debates, children playing in parks, street markets bustling with activity. Vexitral noted how the humans seemed perpetually emotional, constantly shifting between states of anger, joy, sorrow, and excitement. "How exhausting," he muttered, shutting off the feed. Vextral spoke clearly for the record. Planet Earth classification, Category D, technological level insufficient for Confederation contact. Quarantine recommendation, standard observation, only. Resource value minimal. Military threat assessment, negligible. He paused, then added, "Note, species displays unusual emotional variability and social instability. Revisit classification in 200 cycles." With a flick of his wrist, he submitted the report. Earth was officially documented as just another insignificant world among thousands, hardly worth the attention of the greater galactic community. Vextral had no way of knowing that his casual dismissal would prove to be the Confederation's greatest miscalculation. Far beyond Confederation territory, in the crimson nebulae of the Outer Reach, the Krelthar Dominion hunted for new conquests. Their massive warships resembled predatory creatures, all angles and sharp edges, hulls painted the deep red of dried blood. Inside the command vessel, General Vrackmore studied holographic star charts, his leathery face illuminated by the glow. "We need a forward operating base," he growled to his war council. "Somewhere the Confederation doesn't care about, somewhere we can establish without drawing their notice." His second commander, Chakral, pointed to a small blue dot in a spiral arm. "This world called Earth, recently classified Category D by the Confederation. No protection, minimal monitoring." Vrackmore's face split into a smile that revealed jagged tusks. "Perfect. We'll take it with minimal forces. The locals won't pose any challenge." The War Council laughed, already imagining how easily the primitive humans would bow before their might. 12 days later, the first Krelthar scout ships entered Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness. They deployed in remote areas, Azop Desert in Australia, a forest in Canada, mountains in Peru, and a small island in the Pacific. Their mission was simple: assess Earth's defenses, gather intelligence on human military capabilities, and prepare for the invasion force that would follow. The first scout ship landed in the Australian outback. Commander Drezkul expected to encounter nothing but primitive wildlife. Instead, he found himself being observed by a weathered man in a wide-brimmed hat, sitting on a rusted pickup truck. The human was recording the alien ship with a smartphone. "G'day," the man called out. "You folks lost?" Before Drezkul could respond, the human had already uploaded the video to social media. Within hours, it had gone viral across the planet. In Canada, the second scout ship encountered a group of university students on a research expedition. Instead of running in fear, The students approached with scientific equipment, attempting to take readings of the alien vessel. "This is amazing," one student exclaimed. "Can we interview you for our thesis?" The Krelthar soldiers, trained to inspire terror, found themselves completely bewildered by the humans' response. Where was the panic, the submission, the proper respect for superior beings? On the Krelthar command ship, General Vrackmore received increasingly confusing reports. Humans are spreading images of our scouts across their global network. They're attempting to communicate by holding up mathematical equations. One group offered us something called pizza as a peace offering. Vrackmore slammed his fist on the command console. "These primitives are not behaving as expected. Deploy the first wave of troops. Show them our power." The first wave descended upon major cities: New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, and Rio de Janeiro. The Krelthar ships hovered menacingly over skyscrapers, deploying armed soldiers who demanded immediate surrender. In New York, Commander Chakral addressed a crowd at Times Square through amplified speakers. "Humans, your planet now belongs to the Krelthar Dominion. Surrender or be destroyed." There was a moment of silence. Then someone in the crowd shouted, "Are you guys here for Comic-Con?" Laughter rippled through the gathered humans. Confusion swept through Krelthar ranks. This was not how conquests were supposed to go. Their intimidation tactics, perfected across dozens of worlds, seemed ineffective against humans. More concerning was how quickly information spread among the humans. Within hours of the Krelthar arrival, scientists worldwide were analyzing their technology. Hackers were attempting to breach their communication systems. Engineers were studying the propulsion signatures of their ships. In Beijing, a team of computer scientists managed to intercept and decode Krelthar communications. In London, university students used drones to take detailed photographs of the alien weapons. In São Paulo, mechanics were already attempting to reverse engineer pieces of debris that had fallen from the ships. At the United Nations, an emergency session brought world leaders together. For perhaps the first time in human history, political differences were set aside in the face of an existential threat. "We need to coordinate our response," said the Secretary General. "Not as individual nations, but as Earth." A global coalition formed with unprecedented speed. Military forces combined, under a unified command. Scientists shared information openly across borders. Tech companies released proprietary software to help in the defense effort. Meanwhile, the Krelthar had begun limited strikes against military installations, expecting to cripple Earth's defenses. They destroyed an airbase in Germany, a naval yard in Japan, and a missile facility in the United States. But instead of demoralizing the humans, these attacks only galvanized their resistance. General Vrackmore watched in disbelief as his reports showed humans rapidly adapting to Krelthar technology. "How are they learning so quickly?" he demanded. "They're supposed to be primitives." The answer came from his science officer. "General, our analysis suggests that human entertainment, what they call science fiction, has prepared them for this scenario. They've been imagining alien invasions for centuries." Vrackmore stared at the holographic displays showing humans fighting, back with increasingly effective tactics. "Impossible," he muttered. "No species prepares for contact before it happens." But humans had. Through books, films, games, and stories, they had rehearsed this moment countless times. They had imagined every possible scenario, considered every strategy. What the Krelthar saw as primitive entertainment had been, in a way, the most elaborate war games in the galaxy, and now humans were putting those imagined scenarios into practice. In laboratories around the world, scientists worked feverishly to understand alien technology. A teenager in Mumbai discovered a vulnerability in the Krelthar communication system that allowed Earth forces to broadcast disrupting signals. A retired engineer in Helsinki found a way to detect the energy signatures of cloaked Krelthar ships. A team of programmers in Nairobi developed an algorithm that could predict Krelthar attack patterns based on previous engagements. On the battlefield, human forces employed guerrilla tactics that confounded the Krelthar. Instead of meeting the aliens in direct combat where they would surely lose, Humans used their knowledge of Earth's terrain to set ambushes, to disappear and reappear, to strike and fade away. Most surprising of all was human ingenuity in repurposing alien technology. When a Krelthar fighter crashed in the Brazilian rainforest, local forces didn't just study it. Within days, they had adapted its energy weapons to their own vehicles. When Krelthar communication devices were captured, humans didn't merely decode them. They reconfigured them to transmit viruses into the alien network. 7 days into what should have been a simple conquest, General Vrackmore faced a stunning reality. The invasion was failing. His forces were being picked apart by beings who had never even left their own solar system. "Send in the main fleet," he ordered, his voice tight with fury. "We will crush them with overwhelming force." As the massive Krelthar warships approached Earth orbit, humans watched the skies with determination rather than fear. They had spent the last week preparing for this moment. They were ready. The rise of humanity. The main Krelthar fleet arrived in Earth's orbit like a storm of metal and energy. 5 massive dreadnoughts, each capable of reducing a city to ash, accompanied by hundreds of smaller vessels. From his command bridge, General Vrackmore gazed down at the blue planet with cold determination. "Begin the orbital bombardment," he ordered. "Target their major military installations first, then their government centers." The ships positioned themselves strategically around the globe. Weapon systems powered up, energy cores humming with destructive potential. The Krelthar had conquered worlds this way for centuries. Overwhelming force applied from orbit, crushing resistance before it could form. But as they prepared to fire, something unexpected happened. All across the Krelthar fleet, warning alarms blared. Ship after ship reported system malfunctions. Weapons wouldn't fire. Navigation systems showed incorrect coordinates. Communication channels filled with strange sounds, what humans called music, specifically a children's song about a small shark family that repeated endlessly. On Earth, in a bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched with satisfaction as her team's work bore fruit. "The virus is working," she announced to the assembled military leaders. "We've successfully infected their command systems." A month earlier, Dr. Rodriguez had been developing security software for banking systems. Now, she led the most important cybersecurity operation in human history. Her team had created a virus based on fragments of code from captured Krelthar devices. When the main fleet connected to the communication relays left by the advance forces, the virus spread through their network. General Vrackmore raged as his technicians fought to regain control of their systems. "How is this possible? Their technology is primitive." His chief technician worked frantically at the controls. "Their attack methods are unorthodox, General. They're not following any standard cyber warfare protocols. It's as if they're making it up as they go along." That was precisely what humans were doing. With no established rules for interstellar combat, they improvised, drawing from countless sources: military history, scientific theory, video games, and action movies. This unpredictability made their tactics almost impossible for the Krelthar to counter. While the alien fleet struggled with their systems, humanity launched its counterattack. It wasn't conventional warfare. It couldn't be against such advanced technology. Instead, it was human ingenuity at its finest. From submarine bases around the world, modified missiles launched silently toward the disabled Krelthar ships. These weren't nuclear weapons or explosive devices. They were delivery systems for thousands of tiny robots designed by a collaborative team of engineers from 12 different countries. These micro-robots, inspired by Earth insects, attached themselves to the hulls of Krelthar vessels. Once in place, they began drilling microscopic holes and inserting themselves into the ship's infrastructure. Some disrupted cooling systems, others rerouted power supplies. Many simply gathered intelligence, mapping the vessels from the inside. "The drone infiltration is at 70%, announced General Wei from the Chinese contingent. "They're sending back valuable data on ship layouts and vulnerabilities." Meanwhile, in orbit, the International Space Station, hastily retrofitted, with equipment salvaged from downed Krelthar scouts, served as humanity's forward command post. Astronauts and military personnel worked together, coordinating Earth's response and maintaining communication when alien forces attempted to jam conventional signals. Commander Sarah Levine, formerly of NASA, now directed operations from the station. "They're expecting us to cower," she told her team. "They don't understand that humans have been imagining this fight for generations. We've rehearsed this in our minds 1,000 times." On the ground, humans continued to adapt alien technology with remarkable speed. In Johannesburg, engineers converted Krelthar energy weapons into power sources for field hospitals. In Mexico City, captured alien communication devices were reconfigured to detect approaching ships. In Sydney, a team of automotive designers used alien alloys to create vehicles capable of withstanding energy weapon impacts. The Krelthar had expected to find a disorganized planet of primitives. Instead, they found a unified world of innovators who viewed advanced technology not as magic, but as puzzles to be solved. After 3 days of orbital stalemate, General Vrackmore made a fateful decision. "We will launch ground forces," he announced to his commanders. "The humans are clever with their machines, but they cannot match our warriors in direct combat." Krelthar dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere, carrying thousands of battle-hardened soldiers. They landed in strategic locations: the plains outside Washington, D.C., the steppes near Moscow, the outskirts of Beijing, and the desert near Cairo. What followed was not the swift conquest Vrackmore had envisioned. Human forces didn't meet the aliens in open battle where Krelthar's superiority would guarantee victory. Instead, they employed tactics drawn from every guerrilla campaign in history. They used terrain to their advantage. They struck at supply lines. They created elaborate deceptions to lead alien forces into ambushes. Most effective were the civilian innovations. When Krelthar sensors proved capable of detecting conventional weapons, farmers in Ukraine developed specialized farming equipment that confused the alien detection systems. When Krelthar body armor repelled standard ammunition, metallurgists in Japan created new alloys that could penetrate it. A decisive moment came during the Battle of the Sahara. A large Krelthar force had established a forward base in the desert, using it to launch attacks against Mediterranean cities. Conventional military assaults had failed to dislodge them. The solution came from an unexpected source: climate scientists. Using modified weather satellites and technology adapted from Krelthar atmospheric processors, they created a targeted sandstorm of unprecedented intensity. The Krelthar, unfamiliar with desert warfare, found their technology failing as fine sand penetrated every seal and filter. While the aliens struggled against the elements, a coalition force of Egyptian, Moroccan, and Algerian troops, guided by Tuareg desert experts, moved through the storm using specially adapted equipment. The entire Krelthar base was captured with minimal human casualties. Aboard his command ship, General Vrackmore received increasingly dire reports. His ground forces were being defeated not by superior firepower, but by superior adaptation. The humans simply refused to fight the way the Krelthar expected them to. "They're not following any recognized combat doctrine," his tactical officer complained. "Every human group fights differently. There's no pattern to analyze, no standard to predict." That was humanity's greatest strength. Unlike the Krelthar, who had developed their military tactics over centuries of uniform training, humans had thousands of distinct military traditions. Chinese strategy differed from Russian, which differed from American, which differed from Nigerian. Each brought different perspectives, different solutions, and they were learning from each other, creating hybrid approaches that had never existed before. 2 weeks into the ground campaign, Vrackmore faced rebellion among his officers. "We cannot win this war," his second commander stated bluntly during a council meeting. "Not without committing resources we don't have." "They are primitives," Vrackmore roared. "They have not even left their solar system. Yet they have adapted our technology faster than any species we've encountered," another officer countered. "And they fight with imagination." That was the word that hung in the air. Imagination. The Krelthar, for all their advancement, had become rigid in their thinking. Humans, constantly creating and reinventing themselves, approached problems from angles the Krelthar couldn't anticipate. The end came suddenly. Coordinated attacks by human forces destroyed key Krelthar command centers around the globe. Indigar, orbit, the compromised fleet found itself unable to maintain position as critical systems failed. Some ships lost life support. Others lost propulsion. A few simply drifted away, their navigation systems reprogrammed by human hackers. General Throckmore, facing mutiny and defeat, gave the order he had never imagined giving. Retreat. Full withdrawal from this system. As the battered Krelthar fleet limped away from Earth, news of their defeat spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Confederation received the reports with shock and disbelief. A Category D civilization had repelled the feared Krelthar dominion. In his office at the classification tower, Vextral stared at the incoming data in disbelief. Emergency sessions were being called, classification protocols were being rewritten. An investigative committee was being formed to visit Earth immediately. He pulled up his original assessment of humans, reading it with new eyes. Species displays unusual emotional variability and social instability. What he had dismissed as weakness had proven to be strength. Emotional variability meant creativity under pressure. Social instability meant adaptability in crisis. Computer, he said, his voice trembling slightly. Update Earth classification to Category A. Priority. Diplomatic contact recommended. As the Confederation scrambled to establish peaceful relations with Earth, humans were already looking to the stars with new purpose. The alien technology they had captured and adapted provided the keys to faster-than-light travel, energy production, beyond fossil fuels and medical advances that would transform society. 6 months after the Krelthar retreat, the first human-built starship, incorporating both Earth innovation and reverse-engineered alien technology, prepared for its maiden voyage. Named Imagination, it represented not just humanity's entrance onto the galactic stage but the beginning of a new approach to interstellar relations. On the bridge, Captain Maya Patel addressed her diverse crew. We go to the stars not as conquerors, like the Krelthar, nor as bureaucrats like the Confederation. We go as explorers, innovators, and storytellers. We bring with us humanity's greatest strength, our ability to think differently. As the ship activated its drive system, creating a ripple in space-time that would carry it beyond the solar system, billions of humans watched through linked feeds. Earth had been overlooked, dismissed as insignificant. Now the galaxy would never forget its name. In the vastness of space, other civilizations waited, some with curiosity, some with trepidation, for the arrival of these unexpected newcomers. Humanity had proven itself not through overwhelming force or ancient wisdom, but through something many species had forgotten: the power of looking at old problems in new ways. The universe would never be the same again.